Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Do we need this?
Okay. Inshallah, you can hear me, right? I'm loud enough. So, Jazakallah khairan for coming and for being punctual. Barakallahu feekum. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala put those, inshallah, these steps that you made and this time, inshallah, in your scale, in Jannah, inshallah, in the day of judgment. I would like to really thank you, Barakallahu feekum, for attending and for your, giving us and allowing us the opportunity for us to get together as an, as an organized team, regardless of where you serve and which age group that you're serving, but for us to get equipped with the skills and the knowledge that we need to, inshallah, have an impactful, mentorship with our usr. So I just want to say that this is an effort for the Tarbiyah department, Barakallahu feekum, for all those who helped with this effort. Sister Iman, Dr. Ahmed, Sister Manal, of course Dr. Hisham, and all the other team. I don't want to remiss if I forget anyone, but inshallah, you know the rest of the team. We're planning, inshallah, this is a series of training sessions that we're going to start this year. To make sure that we're comfortable. We're doing what we're doing and comfortably. We're able and we're equipped with the skills and the techniques and the tips that we need to have an effective mentorship with our tarbiyah effort, inshallah. So let me just start, inshallah, with Quran recitation. Inshallah, inviting Dr. Sisi to recite some ayat of the Quran.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. وسارعوا إلى مغفرة من ربكم وجنة عرضها السماوات والأرض أعدت للمتقين الذين ينفقون في السراء والضراء والكاظمين الغيظ والعافين عن الناس والله يحب المحسنين والذين إذا فعلوا فاحشة أو ظلموا أنفسهم ذكروا الله فاستغفروا لذنوبهم ومن يغفر الذنوب إلا الله ولم يصروا على ما فعلوا وهم يعلمون أولئك جزاؤهم مغفرة من ربهم وجنات تجري من تحتها الأنهار خالدين فيها ونعم أجر العاملين قد خلت من قبلكم سنن فسيروا في الأرض فانظروا كيف كان عاقبة المكذبين هذا بيان للناس وهدى وموعظة للمتقين ولا تهنوا ولا تحزنوا وأنتم الأعلون ولا تهنوا ولا تحزنوا وأنتم الأعلون إن كنتم مؤمنين إن يمسسكم قرح فقد مس القوم قرح مثله وتلك الأيام نداولها بين الناس وليعلم الله الذين جاهدوا منكم ويتخذ منكم شهداء وليعلم الله الذين آمنوا منكم ويتخذ منكم شهداء وليعلم الله الذين آمنوا ويتخذ منكم شهداء والله لا يحب الظالمين وليمحص الله الذين آمنوا ويمحق الكافرين أم حسبتم أن تدخلوا الجنة ولما يعلم الله أم حسبتم أن تدخلوا الجنة ولما يعلم الله الذين جاهدوا منكم ويعلم الصابرين ولقد كنتم تمنون الموت من قبل أن تلقوه فقد رأيتموه وأنتم تنظرون.
Jazakallah khairan. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reward you. In the light of what Dr. Sisi, the verses that Dr. Sisi picked at now, subhanAllah, we see how, inshallah, this effort, the tarbiyah, has a huge impact for victory, right? And we can see this with our own eyes in Gaza, mashallah, la quwwata illa billah, how this generation, the generation that, mashallah, they're holding the ground and they're sacrificing everything that they have, subhanAllah, for the sake of kalimatullah subhanahu wa ta'ala, for Allah's word to be victorious, subhanAllah. This is very inspiring for us and really setting our direction and brings perspective to what we're doing here. So we can choose to do anything else, but the most important thing is raising the next generation. And alhamdulillah, the signs for our, mashallah, for this ummah to be victorious, inshallah, and for us to go through the rising slope, inshallah, is there, and we can see it, alhamdulillah rabbil alameen. And for us, this is, again, puts us in that responsibility to bring our efforts together, to be the ones who play just a simple role of that, like the impact that we're all looking for, inshallah, in the very soon future, inshallah. So may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reward you all, and I really thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to grant us this opportunity to be used in this great effort, alhamdulillah, and this great work that we, inshallah, as little as we can, put something, maybe a piece of information, maybe a hadith, maybe one word that impacts someone's life and make them, inshallah, the leaders of the future, inshallah. So, jazakumullah khairan for jazakallah khairan, Dr. Sisi, for choosing these recitation verses, mashallah, jazakallah khair. So, just a reminder of our vision and mission again, because it really sets our intention, right, and makes us set the direction for what we're doing. Our vision in mass, a vibrant American Muslim community striving for a just and virtuous society. And we can see it now, subhanAllah, that how much we need this virtuous society that hopefully, inshallah, is able and empowered to establish justice and put fairness in this dunya, inshallah. The second, our mission, inshallah, to move people and nurture lifelong God-centered agents of change. And this is our, if I'm looking at the group in front of me, mashallah, this is your mission and this is your intention to, inshallah, be able to be equipped with the right skills and information and knowledge to hopefully, inshallah, move people and nurture lifelong God-centered agents of change. 2 points that I just need to get out of the way. So if you haven't gotten your copy of the curriculum, please make sure you could, we unfortunately, it's 40 pages and we weren't able to get them all stapled. So if you're able, inshallah, go, you'll find all your copies here. Pick one from each page and, attach it. And I believe everyone attending has done that so far. Sign in. The sign-in sheet will help us, inshallah, when you sign in, and I'll show you the QR code right now, will help us, inshallah, with our next efforts. So would make us understand what your contribution at the moment, so we can, inshallah, put you in the right group, whether you're working with adults or CYP or youth mentorship groups, inshallah. And make sure to join the Mentors Hub, because that will be our direct communication with you. So whenever we have a training like this, whenever we have like a case study that we want to share with you so we can pick each other's brains on how can we become better mentors and offer effective work, that will be the channel, inshallah. So I'll go through the program quickly so we could just, see how are we, and I'm sure you all got through this, where inshallah we'll be starting with the Usra curriculum training with Dr. Wa'il, Jazakallah khairan, he's here punctual, mashallah. Then will be, this group inshallah, you're not required to be attending after break. So once inshallah we pray and we have lunch, once you attend Dr. Ahmed Taha's session, inshallah, you're free to go. If you would like to continue, that would be, you're most welcome, but you're free to go, inshallah, before the second break, inshallah. This is the sign-in QR code, so please bring your phones and sign in. Yes, I'll show it to you right now, inshallah. So this is the sign-in. If you're done, let me know so we can move to the next QR code. Done? This is the Mentors Hub. So you're joined already? This is the sign-in for the sign-in sheet. No, that's the Mentors Hub. Please scan this one. Okay. No. Yeah, I moved the screen. Yes. Done? Okay. This is the Mentors Hub. Hopefully everyone is part of this WhatsApp group, inshallah. Alaykum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Done? Okay. Jazakumullah khairan. Oh, sorry. Go ahead. Now I invite Dr. Wa'il, inshallah, to give us the guidelines for the Usra curriculum. Please invite him, welcome him with me, inshallah, to start, showing us how to use the Usra curriculum.
I'll switch it HDMI.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
Now I feel bad about turning off the light. Here we go. Bismillah, alhamdulillah, salatu wassalam, rasulullah, jazakumullah khairan for giving me a chance to share the curriculum with the group here. So here is a plan. Before I go there, I listed the name of the group that worked in this curriculum. So I know a couple of them in this chapter. So make sure that you pick which one that you know so that you have maybe an active access for questions if there is need. So depending how the time goes, inshallah, there is an overall view of the curriculum, how it goes, the idea of it, how we can use it, and inshallah followed by hands-on applications that I have case studies and we'll discuss it together to make sure that by the end of that session, all of us will be experts in this curriculum. And then I'll show you the online resources and how it works. And finally, depending on the time, we may pick out of the 8 couple of topics and go deeper at it. But my goal is by the end of You want me to put on the mic? Better? All good? By the end of today, inshallah, we'll get really everybody here to be familiar with the curriculum. So before we go there, so from 1 to 5, 5 means I'm really, really familiar with the curriculum. 1, I kind of know about it. So can you raise your hand with a number? 5 means like 3, 4, 2, 1. Okay. Great, mashallah. Jazakumullah khair, barakallah fiik. It's good. I teach, as you may know, so I like to see where we start. All right, we start here. 5 qualities that was developed some time ago, at least published 7 years ago. So what's the difference between us, mass, and anybody else is we work on tarbiyah as the method of da'wah. We develop future da'iyah. Other organizations may work on other very important stuff, like education, like defending minorities, and other reasons, but we focus on that part. The product is a person. Could be other things on the side. We may have a conference where we invite everybody else to learn, but the person is. The usra, where that happens. So the Prophet ﷺ in Mecca, early days of Islam, the first 3 years, he had Dar al-Arqam ibn Abi al-Arqam, where we have young men meeting with him on a regular basis and doing tarbiyah one-on-one with people. Graduates of that usra, I like to refer to it as an usra, is Mus'ab ibn Umayr, who was sent to Medina alone to invite all people of Medina. And if people try to analyze history, he made a turn in the Islamic history, because after 1 year, many people of Medina in Bayt al-Aqaba al-Thaniyah became Muslims and prepared the way for the Prophet. A young man, maybe a new Muslim as we consider it in these days, right? So the tarbiyah puts something in us that gets us on a different level. And be able to work alone and have that inside. So I like that we started with the mission and vision. So our vision is a society. Our mission is agent of change. So to reach the society, we develop the agent of change that will get this society to reach this point. So starting with the 5 qualities, Islamically oriented, all the surah in Mecca were aqidah related, directly aqidah related. Even Siyam and the Salah and so on Siyam came in Medina and Salah came way late in Mecca. So many of the ahkam came in Medina, but the aqidah was first. So aqidah is the driving for all of us, and Islamically oriented is the base of it. And I built the 5 of them as a pyramid. So each one built on the top of the other one. So first one is Islamically oriented. If we rush into being active and not Islamically oriented, I be an activist. That I can get tired from mass and do something else. I'm a person like to help. And there are so many people outside that like to help. This is great. But this is not what we're looking for. We're looking at Islamically oriented da'iyah. Active, basis on the aqidah, and so on. Agent of change, which is part of our mission, a person can change in any setting, in any tool. So I know many of us here, besides working in mass, maybe serving in the local masjid, or helping in a weekend school, or doing other activity on the side. This is our nature. You move to another place, you search for an opportunity to be an agent of change. A person that can, remember that model of Mus'ab ibn Umayr, can be alone in a society that starts growing circles around. You know, the famous model or example of Muslims or da'iyah, it's like water hitting the ground. You are the water hitting the ground, regardless of where it lands, some green will come out. So this is what we are, and this is the agent of change. Now, changing with what? It's changing with which message? So, agent of change can be a person, positive, society, equity, and so on, so many other motives. The model that we have in mass is through the tarbiyah. So I should totally understand what are the core values in mass, how we approach people, what would be the right way of reaching, and who are the audience of our da'wah. Now, working here, and this is a pyramid, as I said, it's building on top of each other. If I don't speak the language, it's not the literal language. If I don't speak the culture, I'll not be able to communicate. So a person like me came some years ago from overseas. There are things that's it's normal here, that's not normal over there, and vice versa. So I may refer to something that's really red line that I don't understand. So reading the culture and understanding it, and they say history is human manual. History repeats itself. A couple of weeks ago, we had Qiyam for youth, and subhanAllah came after October 7th. So turned the Qiyam into information about Palestine, the history of it. And you see the history of Palestine repeating itself, right? Palestine after Umar ibn al-Khattab, a couple of centuries, the Crusades took it. Then Salah al-Ayyubi, about 90 years, killed it. What happened after that? The Tatar came and messed up things. And then came back again and so on. The cycle of going back and forth. And somebody was saying, I told myself, I'm not talking about Palestine a lot, so I don't get to it, but let me finish that part. Somebody living in the 80 years when Palestine was under the Crusades will think that's it. So my grandfather in these 80 years hear about Palestine, and then my father was born, and I am outside Palestine. It's not coming back. So history repeats itself in all formats, here and everywhere else, and history here is very important. Very important to understand how this country was formed. What are the values? Texas and all these states, what are the values here different from other places so I can speak the language? And finally, if we reach a point that we feel we learn, that means the end of our learning. So they say the learning are 4 feet. People will get the first foot, think they know everything. Did you hear this one before? So then you get the second foot, you say, I know something, but not much. Then the third foot, that I actually know now, 3/4 of it, then I know that there are so many things to learn. Those who complete the 4 feet of learning know that they don't know anything, because it's unlimited. So, lifelong learner, regardless where I am, where I serve in Mass. So 5 qualities that should be the core of every single activity we will do with us. And it doesn't have to be the title explicitly mentioned, but the focus. So any activity in mind, 2 hours meeting with the Usra. Any activity that as a group we go outside and visit a brother or do other activity or go to have some fun together or any other activity should land here somewhere. Now let's focus on the curriculum, and the curriculum is a tool for the Usra. It's not everything, it's still a tool, but it's important. So the curriculum will have to have subjects. So if we start with Aqidah, for example, as we said, this is a core part. We don't have to be faqih in Aqidah, but there are some ma'ruf min al-din bil-darura should be there, especially living in a non-Muslim society where some lines are being faded now. So it's very important that we understand the limits of Aqidah. I talk to the kids in the weekend school, very common that the schools, kids say jokes about Allah, about their God, right? And our kids start to follow the same idea. This is an Aqidah issue, and so on. So then fiqh, that if I'm part of Mass, I should know a lot about fiqh. I'm not a faqih, but I know what I need. And that, then next one will be the Quran. Of course, the Quran is embedded in all of that. The Quran has a connection with the Quran itself in different capacities. And then we usually learn seerah of the Prophet ﷺ from 570 to 623. All of these years and all the activities in Medina, Mecca, then Medina, and so on. In the curriculum group, we would like to have the word history instead. So that includes all the prophets, the life of the Prophet ﷺ, the Sahaba and Tabi'een. Then you take the history all the way till today. What happened in 1917, 1923, how the Khilafah was ended. What is 1948? Why this date is important. And all of these pieces, how these borders were defined, why? Why something was implemented in the Middle East so that there is always a mess around it. And so all of these pieces, that's part of the history, Islamic history from the Islamic perspective. Islam in this country. What's Islam in this country in the last 100 years? How it was evolved, and all of these pieces. Everything else except this one comes from so many resources. We can have class to learn fiqh, aqidah, and even Islamic history. MashaAllah, nowadays, I know that in Texas here you have a lot of resources that you can attend the class in person or online to cover, except this one. This is mass signature. The da'wah through the approach of mass. The tarbiyah, the definition of tarbiyah with ta'sil, where it came from. Mass did not invent that. This is how we see the Prophet ﷺ raising the Sahaba. Abdullah ibn Umar, Abdullah ibn Abbas. You know this series of Ababida. All of these Sahaba was raised one-on-one. In really a personal, individual setting where this is how they grew to be. You know, Abdullah ibn Umar is very close to my heart, subhanAllah. Learn about his end of life, toward the end, at the time of fitna, and his way and his deep thinking of managing fitna. That did not came from, it came from the da'wah, came from the raising of the Prophet ﷺ in him and seeing him. Tazkiyah in us is very critical, that our connection with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is first and important. I know we get busy schedule like these events and other things, but if there is no time during the day that I am with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in 2 rak'ah, or Quran, or a dua, will burn out. Because it's not job. This is not the full-time job of the week. This is work for the sake of Allah. Without tazkiyah, it will be hard. Other things will come first. So tazkiyah is critical part in us. Interpersonal skills, to be able to stand and present, communicate. Sometimes it's maybe not the right person to make the advice. So you want to advise me for something, but you pick maybe Brother Ahmed to talk to me because it's the right channel, so on. So other interpersonal skills, leadership skills, and so on. A da'iyah will need a lot beside just giving lectures. And finally, current issues and U.S. history. So it's very important that we understand what's happening. What are the key issues that would be in the election in a year, in this city? I should know. This is not my focus, it's not my part, but as a da'iyah here, I should understand that part. And that applies to everything else. So, core values and topics that will serve them. Now, to make it more complicated, they are mapped. So, it's non-linear, so you see some of them serving in more than one item, and you see the connection being more than that. SubhanAllah, Islam is fully integrated. A Muslim is a fully integrated in the term well-rounded person that everything served together. So story of Yusuf alayhi salam, when he got in the jail, and he make da'wah to the 2 people in jail. And this is a nice example you'll see in Kutub Da'wah. This is a hard situation. Somebody in jail in really a bad crime that he did not commit. So he should be patient, get the days through, and actually years through, and forget about everything. An opportunity for da'wah for these 2 criminals technically inside. And you see the da'wah approach of him. When they asked him about something, when he took them to the da'wah part, Ya sahibay sijni, and then the rest of it, then he answered them. And subhanAllah, now this is the da'wah part of it. The aqidah part is, Allah put him in jail so that he can be connected to the Aziz and become the Aziz of Masr later. So this is, for the same story here, 2 pieces serving our understanding. That's why if you're familiar with Qasas al-Anbiya ibn Kathir, it took all this is the same Ibn Kathir that we know, took all the ayat from different places in the Quran and put them back to back and try to get the story of the Prophet. And you see how the puzzles come together. Because some part of the Qasas Sayyidina Musa alayhi salam will be to serve how to stand for the truth, how to manage fitna in your group, and so on, different places, how to confront dhulm in the right way, how to negotiate and talk and debate. So the serving of it comes in different places. So this is where the curriculum integrated. So the curriculum is built on the core, and these are the topics, and we put it in this format. So Islamically oriented will have goals in it. Agent of change will break it into goals so we can focus on it. So the results will be focused on specific. So because the title Islamically oriented is too wide. And every topic is mapped to specific goal. And everything I talk about is in the document that was printed. I'll try to flip the pages with you as we go, inshallah. So if you go to page
14.
which page?
14.
14, page 14. You will see these two tables of the mapping, the whole idea of the mapping. And inshallah, I'll walk you through the document so that you know how it's broken down so we can use it, inshallah. And please feel free to take notes as we talk about it. So every topic is mapped to a specific goal. So if I miss part, and we have a way to assess our goals and then go back to the topics. So I'll talk about the assessment in a minute, inshallah. So every one of these objectives, qualities is broken into objective, and then we're going to have an exercise, inshallah, in the second half that we're going to work together so that we'll get closer to it, inshallah. All right, so the curriculum are 8 topics and then 4 levels. So every level, first level will be phase 1, introducing the subject and take fiqh, for example. For fiqh, you should teach me in the first level how to pray and make sure that I do it correctly. So that's enough for first level. Second, I should go deep in that. How the prayer will impact me. I'm praying correctly, but how can make khushu' and make impact of it. Then third level will be going advanced. What if I'm traveling? How about wudu and all of the other advanced topics? And finally, we get to leading or contributing and so on. So that applies to everything. Fiqh, aqidah, for example. First level, 6 pillars of aqidah, understanding it very well. Second level, how can I make aqidah the driver of my life? I already understand it, how can I apply it? And so on. Third level, how can I understand the aqidah of non-Muslims? What al-wala wal-bara. Some of these concepts, that's advanced a little. I cannot jump to it till I get to that level, and finally, we can get to the top level. Then with every level, we'll have books recommended that says what phase it works for. And the whole idea of the new curriculum, what's fixed is the 5 qualities and objectives. Book or website or a video is a tool that may or may not work for me. We have breaking down into some recommendation, but I can rotate any tool as long as I'm still getting the objective through. Then we have some recommendation by the year, and this is, I'm going to switch inshallah to the document and talk about it in a little bit. So at any month, this is by month. For phase 1, there will be Quran and 2 to 3 topics, and we'll try to make it balanced so you don't have fiqh and aqidah at the same time. That will make it hard and so on. And we broke it down by month instead of week, give a little bit of flexibility. So it's important here, looking at that table, the Usra is not a study guide, a study circle. It's not a class. It's not about finishing a topic. It's about building it. So if the discussion evolves into further than that, take the time. So it's not about finishing again, it's about what we build internally. And then books that we recommend for level 1 and how they are implemented. Now let's work together the document and flip the pages together, inshallah. Let's go to the beginning. I flip the page with you and say a couple of stuff about each page, inshallah. So beginning of it is just an overview that's similar to what I said. We'll talk about 5 qualities and how they work. Then the table of content says there are 2 parts in the document. The first part is technically a monthly schedule that I can tomorrow start my Usra and follow the schedule. So we made it in this format where you're ready to go. However, if I continue finish subjects without going to the objectives, it will be at the surface, doesn't go deep. So that's first part. Part 2 is going the depth. So you see part 2 starting from section 5. I'm going to flip the page with you. I'm still in the table of content for now. That says Quran and so on, go deep on the objectives and so on. So this is the outline. So the part 1 of the document, I'm on page 2 now, is the outline, and part 2 is the topics. So let's now look at page 4. So on page 4 here, these are recommended books for every topic. So for example, for Quran, we focus in phase 1 on the last 3 chapters. In Aqidah, we have recommended book. Anybody read the Dr. Muhammad Naeem book before? Aqidah? Very nice book. Very nice, easy to follow. Usually Aqidah is hard. I use it even for high school kids. Aqidah sometimes it's very hard for people to get, but this is really a nice book. And you'll see fiqh al-sunnah, and so on. So these are the recommended books. You flip the page to page 5. You see how these books are divided to chapter and section in monthly basis. So if I go, let's look, for example, fiqh. You see that this is which section and which chapter. So by the end of the year for phase 1, this is how far we'll go in Aqidah. So between page 4 and page 5, these are the books, and this is the plan. We call it lesson plan, how we go through. So again, if we want to use the curriculum, starting next week, next also, I can take that table and start following right away. Now, if we do that, we cover subjects. But to go deep in the objectives, let's now switch, really go far in the document. What you see, the pages after that are phase 2, 3, and 4. If I jump to page 18, this is the first one of the 8 topics, and then what's left in the document from page 18 till the end of the subject is every 4 or 5 pages are covering topic. So Quran here, you see a little bit of background. We're following Tafsir al-Mawdu'i. I know that Dr. Hamid came here and gave you some presentation sometime. He's part of our group. So you see some reflection on it in the beginning, and then some guiding questions and some goals, how to work on it. You go to page 21. This is Aqidah. And from that down, it's very important as an Aqid to keep reading back and forth in here. You see it very, very clear objectives, which phase we are, and what I do. And then I'll show you, inshallah, in a little bit, how we do the assessment for it as well, how I know where I am now. So let me now summarize. Now bookmark page 21 for now. Let's fly back to page 5. So we have 5 and 21 in our hand. So 5 here says an Aqidah. This is what you're going to cover in month 1, month 2, month 3, month 4. If we get busy and only follow page 5, the table, will be really at the surface. I have to go back to page 21 and see where I am. Did I cover everything? Do I have to be a faqih in Aqidah? No, but I have to find the way for the Usra to get this information. Directly from me or some other source. Here, please.
So, page 5 gives a template for what you can cover in the span of a year, which months to cover it. So, Aqidah, for example, 6 months. You'd cover it first month, third month.
Every other month, yeah.
That's this template.
Yeah. So the recommended is to be on and off. You know, subhanAllah, regardless how interesting the subject, you continue in the same subject for a while, you get to the saturation point that you feel tired from it. So going back and forth helps. So we have Aqidah and Fiqh switched together. You have Tazkiyah and so on, so that it adds up. Now, if my Usra is in a different place where I would like to switch back and forth, topics are tools. Make sure that at the end of the year, everything is covered. Because in my college Usra, they like Sirah. and Sahaba. And then you see a lot of discussion into that. Then, without thinking, we get into that and become, this is the subject, let's go men and women around the Prophet ﷺ, and then we finish this book. But we miss pieces here. Can we use Sirah or Ghazwat Uhud to reflect in Aqidah? Of course we can. But there is studying the Aqidah itself from the Aqidah book has its own benefit as well. So this is where the Naqib will work non-linear, where I know what's needed and I embed it in different pieces. The example of story of Yusuf alayhi salam in the prison is another example here. That can be da'wah, or can be aqidah part, and so on. So that's the document. Hopefully now you're familiar with the document and how it's presented. All right, so we're ready to do kind of a hands-on exercise. I'm going to show you a tool. This tool is to assess where I am in terms of the objectives. So let's say we finish Sirah, then I can give an exam about Sirah. What are the activities that happen in Medina? What is Aam al-Huzn? What are the key parts here? The story of Ta'if, when the Prophet ﷺ went out to Ta'if and even have hard time getting back to Mecca till he get the protection of one of the disbelievers. This is how hard it is, and so on. This is the details of it. Now, how that is impacting me is what we're assessing. So how the stories of Ta'if is impacting me in the da'wah part and so on. So we put an assessment tool, going to do an exercise now in a little bit, in 5 minutes, to fill in this document. So let me walk you through the document, and then inshallah we'll tell you how to use it, and we'll be interactive in here. So the document says here, you have to put a number from 1 to 4. That means, 1 means just familiar, being introduced. I know prayer is 5 times and all the pieces and so on. Then you go down a little bit. I'm practicing the prayer. You see me in Fajr every day and so on. And the third one is I'm advanced in that. You see me praying Qiyam a couple of times a week, and it's building in it. And then even advance it to the point that I can teach that part or contribute one way or the other. That applies to every one of the objective, and we'll have the exercise together. Then the document is smart enough, once you enter the values, it calculates for you, for this specific objective, where we are. To help us filling it in, Aqidah, for example, belief. And we have some information here that will help. So it says here, correct belief, balanced belief, and action, and so on. So I put myself as 2 or 3 or 4 or maybe 1, depending where I am in every single sub-item. Because it's easier to measure by pieces. The Islamically oriented is large, but we'll measure it by pieces. So that's the first part. Then the second part is similar, except it's the rest of the other 5 qualities. So I recommend, or we recommend in the group, that before using any of the curriculum now, go through that exercise individually for my usra, without the usra, and then see where I am. Then what we did in my usra, the college kids, 6 months in, we did that as an usra exercise. As a group, we look together on that and try to fill it together as a group where we are. So we look at here and say, knowledge, for example, critical thinker. What do we think where we are in critical thinker? And maybe we put 1 or 2 or 3. There is benefit of assessing it as an aqib. There is benefit as an exercise, give the message where we are. And then from there, we identify areas, sub-areas that we need to work at. 3 or 4 months window is a reasonable cycle of that tool, because it takes time. This is not a subject that I can, study quickly. This is a practice. That's thinking. That's ideology that you put in. Takes time to build in our mind. Ready for the exercise?
Is this Excel sheet provided at the resource
Yeah,
center?
I'll show you, inshallah. Yeah. Everything I used in this presentation is either from this document or from the new website. The website was developed with this document. So all of these, the Excel sheet, and actually they came up better than Excel sheet, bubble type, like a survey type, that you click it in from the phone. So it will be easy, inshallah. So with that, I'm going to go to the application. The application is a way to assess. We'll try to come up with some scenarios of an usra, an age group, and some skills. And based on that, as a group, now we're going to fill in that Excel sheet. And we'll do a couple of them, inshallah. The goal from it is we actually understand the sub-objectives. So, first group. So we have a group. This is the first group. I'm going to sit so I can use my computer. We have a group in this age group called maybe college students or maybe young professionals. And this group could be singles, could be maybe just married, career-wise, where they are, development-wise. That's where we think maybe in that age group, identity, ideology is in the build. And again, knowledge-wise, they are basic. So if you don't mind, get your phone, take a photo of this one, because I'm going to switch to something else, and you would like to refer to this information again. So this is case study 1. We'll do the application together, inshallah. Imagine this is my usra now, and I'm going to fill in the assessment for my usra, and we'll work as a group. Our whole group is in as one usra. Okay. So ready to go? Yes.
Because if you have an usra and there are few people in your usra, right? The knowledge may be very right. It's not
I agree.
basic. So how do you handle that if some of them is going to be like already practice or advanced?
So I have in my college usra. Let me address this one and go back to the exercise. We have in my college usra, one of them is a grad student, and the other one is a freshman, which is really huge. In this age group, this is a huge difference. 18 years old and 22 years old, this is a huge difference. So the grad student, as we were discussing, mashallah, has been in usra before. Some of the topics will be too simple for him. And if I go that high, the rest of the group will not really catch. So what we try to do, I try to use him in the discussion. There are differences between the knowledge and the application. So we all, alhamdulillah, Rabbil Alameen, know the value of Qiyam al-Layl, right? However, I need to hear a reminder about Qiyam al-Layl. It helps. So I try to use, if there is difference, I try to use the difference in the advantage of the group, that person can prepare and feel contributing to the group as well. I know it's hard, especially if you are in different places where they live, you have to get it together and so on. Yeah. I know this is a tricky one. All right, so let's do the exercise together. I'm switching to the Excel sheet now, and we can start filling in the file. All right, so I started with an Excel sheet, empty one, and let's remind you how we fill it in. So I'm going to put 1 or 2, 3, or 4 based on what I think about this specific objective, and then get the Excel sheet to calculate the value for me. Now for this age group, go to your phone now, look at this case. That's from 18 to 25, if I remember right, and where they are. And I'm going to ask you the questions one after the other. Please raise your hand with a score from 1, 2, 3, or 4 for this imaginary usra, or happen to your usra in this age group. Where do you think they are in terms of the belief? Is it 1, 4, 3, maybe? So if you don't raise your voice, yeah, 2, I can see 2, I see 1s. Okay, so our average is 2. All right, how about correct worship? This group know how to pray, how to fast, if I'm traveling, all of this related to a fiqh issue. Where do you think they are standing? Yeah, I can see 2s, 3s, 2, 3, 4, okay. How about, I put 3 for this one. Ethics, where they are in ethics, this age group, I can see 3, 2s, 1, 3. I'll just put 2 just for the exercise. Spiritual, that might be hard a little bit for this group, it depends. So how they can be spiritual, connected to the Quran, and so on. And we put here remembering Allah, observing the limits, self-assessment, muhasabah, sincerity, and so on. Where do you think? Okay, more ones here, so I'll put 1. How about life centered around Allah? Rabbaniyah. You know, how, and a comprehensive understanding of Islam and all of that. I see ones, okay. Last one, Quran connection. Quran connection in my daily life, regardless if I speak Arabic or not, but reciting Quran, reading tafsir, listening to lectures, and so on for this age group. What do you think? I see 2s, I see 1s, 2. I'll put 2 for that. Now from this exercise, we broke down Islamically oriented into small things that we can measure. Now think about using that tool for your own usra every 3 months. Then I can go back and say, next quarter, I should focus on this tool. The focus, again, I would like us to remember that part. It's not the 2 hours meeting. It focus on resources for that. So maybe I should attend the Qiyam with my Usra. Or as a group, if that happens at the chapter level, the chapter will focus more on this specific need. If that tool, inshallah, they are working, we have that online tool, we are working and developing it in a way that you can extract this data at different level. So I can do my Usra numbers, or I could the whole chapter numbers. So I can plan my next year based on the assessment of where we are as a group. Yes.
Do we have any specific tools for measuring these, or just depending on my experience with the...
It's experience. It's at this point, it's still qualitative. It's not as down to the point yet. We'll try to put indicators here so that helps a little bit.
So every quarter, every 3 months, how can I make sure that they are developing in the spiritual development?
That's a tough one. So I think this is where the Naqib is. So in our virtual Usra, we developed an Excel sheet that we actually fill in on a regular basis individually. And I try to guess it. Some of it is easy to know, some of it is harder. But, you know, the word filling and other pieces, that can be harder. Spiritual, this is a Naqib measure. It's not easy, but yeah.
But maybe if we apply something accountable form, Google form, for example, that they, like
Fill in.
accountability form,
Mhm.
right? So they could, we can track their amount of remember and loss per ta'ala, observing limits, self-assessment, and those type of. Did you remember intention? Did you?
Yeah.
Those type of things.
Yeah, I know. It's. I wish I would try to make it only. I think 30 questions, because our experience, if it is larger than that, people will not fill it in. Yeah.
How about testing?
Testing. Yeah.
At the beginning of the Isra, that's down the road, do the same test and see how people are doing.
I agree. That's why in my Usra, we tried that as a group. And that was very helpful when all of us together fill it in and figure out, wow, I thought I'm better than that, but that was a help exercise.
As individuals,
No, as a group. We do that as a group.
so I make the assessment for myself, and the other one, I make the assessment for the Usra, and the other one for the Usra.
Yeah, we as a team, similar to what we did here, we look at it together and say, where do we think we are? And
It would be better actually for everyone to
I
assess
agree.
and to take the aggregate.
I agree. And that's why the tool we have now, an online tool, that it will be individual. So you can click, and then that's why I said you can extract data without names or with names for your Usra or for a whole chapter.
Because my own assessment for my own self will be
Down.
quantitative, and objective.
Mhm.
But
For
I
others.
will not be able to do it for the others.
I agree. Yeah.
I also
Yes.
think we should consider how where is the dynamics of the individuals, right? Because if they're not yet acquainted with each other, they have good understanding of they wouldn't be comfortable to share these
I agree.
information.
I agree.
And also, but maybe after 6 months or after a year, things will get better, and then
And that's why in my Usra with the college group, that was the very first Usra for them. I cannot bring something like that in the beginning. So we waited for 6 months where we start to be a team and then we work together. Yeah. MashaAllah, these questions means that you think the tool is good. So that's great. So let's see how we can do the second one. So agent of change for this group that you have already on your phone, self-motivated. Where do you score it? So that's kind of, I'm current on the news, I'm active citizen, community engaged. I see 3 already here. What do you think? 3?
It's hard to answer the question. Based on this,
Each group, yeah.
It's really, so the first one is about Islamic oriented. I think yes, clean, but more important is the person himself or herself will be capable also of those evaluations.
Yeah.
questions in Islamic oriented. It's something between everyone.
It's hard, yeah.
But that can question the agent will change. It really becomes something outside, like how much contribution, how much commitment, how much effort that person is giving, seen by his naqib and people around. But yet, based on the info in that case, I think it's
Hard.
the info is not that much.
I agree. And that's why I said the case is, I thought having a case instead of your own Usra so that we can work together on it. But again, your best guess. Age, usually, college age is the most active in these type of things. They are more energetic, they are engaged, MSA and other activity, or at least that's my hope, that they are really engaged in that part. How about self-development? Professional development, being active, healthy, and other things, and so on. Yeah, they go to the gym a lot, right? That's supposed to be. And how about professional development and other things? So let me put 2 for here. Family commitment, that usually refers to the actual family when somebody married and so on, but again applies to being part of the family or and so on. So quality of the family, respect rights and so on. 3. How about community commitment? Means our own community commitment. Actively engaged when it's come to volunteer in the masjid and see 1s and 2s. Okay, 2. All right. So now look at how the Excel sheet works. We said if it is 25 to 40%, your group is at phase 1. This second group will be phase 2, phase 3, and phase 4. So what we did after putting individual, we are 46, we are somewhere between phase 1 and phase 2, in terms of where I should get the material on. For that subject, 63, we happen to be almost close to phase 3, being activist and so on. But you can see the numbers here are better than the other one, although I twisted the numbers a little bit to make that happen. So, all right, so let's try period of the message. Now, this is mass, not the general da'wah concept. This is actual mass. How familiar I am with mass methodology or ideology, how to do da'wah. Okay, so mission and then vision, understanding the mass, understanding the 20 principles of Hassan al-Banna, rahimahullah. So let's start the first one, understanding the vision and mission of mass. I saw 1 so far, 2, more 1s than 2, which is dangerous. If this age group don't understand, doesn't have, maybe the words of the language could be hard, but if our vision is a society, our mission is an agent of change, and then some words around it. But these are the 2 key words: society and agent of change. An agent of change that will get this society to be there. Now the rest of the language could be hard, easy, but at least this is clear. My vision is not to be a good Muslim, raise a family, and stop there. I have bigger vision than that. So it's very important that we have that clear. Now, our approach to the 20 principles of Hassan al-Banna, or al-Fahm, that we understand how it's applied. They know the name or not, but at least we went through that. Where do you see this group. I'm not sure if this should be one of the parameters of the evaluation,
Mm-hmm.
because we never teach the relevance of this item to the reality that we live in now might not be used as one of the evaluation parameters.
I agree.
So it would be unjust to evaluate our youth.
If they don't study it, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
What we show, like, whether the member is raised in an academic or not.
Yeah.
That's most accurate reflection, I guess.
I agree. And in my opinion, it's I'm debating about it, yes or no, but yeah.
It doesn't mean that it is incorrect.
Yeah,
It's relevant or not relevant.
yeah.
It's a grade, 20% is great, but might
Some of it is not relevant. I agree. So, if you're familiar with it, give a score from 1 to 4 about it. How about teamwork skills? Work in a team, and how can I understand shura and how it applies and so on. MashaAllah. 3. Sorry. How about brotherhood? Understanding what does it mean? It's not a friend. This is actual brotherhood, and the definition of it's not just this group. It's beyond that and so on. Support the 3. تعارف تفاهم تكافل of أسرة. I can see MashaAllah 3. How about I put a 4 for this one? We didn't put any 4s before. How about our understanding the revival of Islamic civilization? Understand the Islamic history and how that builds me as a period of the 2, 1s, 2. Good, mashallah. So from that exercise, we are 55. 55 means we are somewhere in phase 2. But the goal is to identify areas that's even more critical. Now let me reflect on that a little bit. It's very, very important that we, as members of MAS, understand clearly the difference between our approach and anybody else, so that we are dedicated to it and understand it, and ta'silha as well. So, from the young age, they should understand what is da'wah and what's the right approach of da'wah and so on. Anything else can be covered anywhere else. So, exemplary citizen, and I'm hoping to get higher score in this one. So, let's see how it goes. So, understand the local community volunteering, understand local, so being an actual citizen. So where do we stand here? 3, 4s. I'll put 4. Now, being competent in the American history. I know that all kids learn in school, but really understand the American history and so on. So good, mashallah. I'm inclined to put 4 because how about engage and participate in civic engagement based on where we are? So if I'm in college, maybe MSA and so on. If I'm a graduate, it depends on my assignment, but there is some level of engagement. I see 2s and 3. How about 3? Promote the values of the U.S. values that works with us. The justice, equality, and so on. That is our Islamic value, technically. 3s. Okay. Let's put 3 here. So intentionally, we got really a high score. That get us here almost in phase 4. So looking at that, it's clear that this age group is really doing well in that part. And maybe we can go further than just basic American history, to go further than that, understanding the role of Muslims here, your job as a minority, your future contribution, and so on, to go further if we stand in a solid ground that far.
Actually, if we have this actual record for the exemplary citizens, it's a good sign that this generation has a potential to connect well with the society.
I agree.
If the score would be low, it means that they are isolated.
It's dangerous.
Which is very bad.
I agree, and that applies to us, people like me who are not from here. If I score low here, then I have barrier between me and people. I don't understand. It took me long time. My kids were playing baseball to understand 70% of it, and I'm good enough. At least I can cheer in the right moment. So the problem is sometimes they do that for the other team if they are doing well. But so last one, lifelong learner, and see how we score in this group. So we have here
knowledge seeker, talking about Islamic knowledge and professional knowledge. Where score for this one? 2, 3, 2, 2. Critical thinker. This is hard a little bit one to measure, but a person that can think in vision level, critical thinking about it. 3, 4, 2, 3. Okay. Knowledge provider coaching. Now it depends. A high school can coach a younger group for soccer and scouting. A college can be coaching others. A graduate can be coaching undergrad, and so on. So the coaching has different meaning, but some level of coaching, because my little son plays taekwondo. Some kids, maybe 2-3 years older, coaching them, and this is their culture, because the coaching has its own way of developing in you. So coaching part. Score. All right. Last one. Bringing knowledge to action, and this is important in lifelong learner, that it's clear that it's not just knowledge for knowledge. MashaAllah, I'm sure about your chapter, but our masjid, for example, we have maybe 5-6 hafaza. Some of them with ijaza and multiple qira'ah and so on. This is really great as knowledge. However, the action is as important or more important than the knowledge. Of course, the knowledge is important, but the action as a da'iyah. So, where do we score it here? 2, 3, 2, 4, about 3. So we got a score here. So now, through that exercise, my goal was that we really understand the objectives. And we may or may not agree in some of these details, but this is a tool that can break down the goals. This is not a tool to measure how much I know fiqh or seerah, the impact of it. So it's very important that we understand that part and keep returning back to it. So, and also as a group, it tells us areas that we should work at and focus on it, inshallah. Okay, so let me do case study 2. And I get you to choose from it. Yes?
Can we go back to the
Sure.
So what does this tell us? Does it tell us that people have different levels of competencies
In different places.
in different places? But what does it from like actual, if I did this and I want to apply it, where should I go with which place?
The curriculum.
Somebody's in a phase, goes on this 3, 2, 1, all over the place.
I agree. Let's break that question into 2 pieces. What if I am level phase 2 here and 3 here? How the USRA will work? And that's the advantage of the new curriculum, that you can pick and choose what works for you. So what's a common problem that we have? We do an USRA, we run for a year, finish the Mecca time. Then I relocate, get a new USRA. Guess what? I finish again, Mecca time. And then how many times we studied Tahara, for example? 5-6 times, depends on which USRA. So the point is not the subject, is the objectives, right? So I may measure, calculate, and then start where I am. In the development of the actual objectives, it takes time. There is a lot of time that I turn to be the actual agent of change for these components. Or not all of us will be, for example, a public speaker, but I can contribute to the da'wah in one way or the other. Now, this is an usra between different levels. What if I have inside the usra, similar to the earlier question, where people are standing in different places? This is where the magic happens from the mentor, where you have to use some of that. And subhanAllah, these are 5 qualities. Very rare that somebody will be in all of them up, and it goes up and down in different ones. So again, try to use the knowledge of some and development and maturity of some members to help the others and so on. However, in an ideal world, it's better the usra is more homogeneous. Yes.
Yeah, I was going to say that, yeah. It's why we stick into the age as activity. We
Yeah.
should have different way of evaluating the levels.
I agree.
And you have a physical age, and you have a mental age, humanic age, and you can see it that way, level.
I agree. And
And then we can put people in the same level, because if you put one at a higher level and someone is below level, you cannot balance
hard. I agree.
So you
And
have
so
to move
age is,
people around.
and age is not the only one. So I talked about knowledge, about career-wise. There are many parameters identify how I think and how my life works. So we picked 5, 6 of them as a category, but it could be something else. But as homogeneous a usra as it could be, the better for everybody. But if it is not, let's work it out. Yes.
So you're saying that it's like you can customize. It's better to customize
I agree.
than to fix to
I agree. The goals should not be changing. The tool should be. And that's why inshallah, when I show the website, we have that in a way that you can continue pick and choose. And again, your eye should be on the goal. So I remember starting with the Usra with the Arba'in Nawawiyya, Tafsir, Dr. Canadian, Jamal Badawi has really a great book about Arba'in Nawawiyya, right? So I have to work with them through the hadith and so on, and then we'll switch back, and then at some point I switch it to something else. So based on how the dynamics from the group. So because we were raised in a way that we always get attached to certain books. Again, objectives. Yes.
Chrissy, you talk about different part of it, but is there anything that you're going to talk about the methodology on how you're going to convey certain message? So probably at a certain point it's better to let them just read and do. Some other times, like someone start a discussion, or some other time you are lecturing them.
I agree. So I don't claim to be the expert in answering this one, so I will try, okay? Many times teaching is a good learning tool. So it cannot be the naqib giving lectures the 2 hours. It doesn't work. Everybody reads and everybody presents in certain terms, and then what I see benefit for me when I attend the Usra is the reflection time more than the actual part. So we talk about the Badr and how things evolve into Badr. Then that will take maybe 5-10 minutes, the events part. Then we'll spend 20 minutes reflecting and presenting it how that applies to my life. How one of the Sahaba in the first battle, very first battle, approached the Prophet and suggested to change the location. Alayhi salatu wasalam. So that says a lot about this dynamics. That this is a Prophet deciding a location, and the Sahabi is comfortable enough to talk to the leader about major decision like that. This is huge way of development, Sahaba in a so that's a reflection that should apply here, and so on. So the reflection part, that's why we get used to finishing a lot, but the reflection part is where the tarbiyah happens. Yes.
Just 2 things about reflection. First, about the homogeneous. This will never happen. So
I know.
homogeneous never happens. So I just want to make sure that everyone, even if you divide them according to age, there will be other differences to knowledge. According to knowledge, other differences to the psychology and all this stuff. So you have to do what we call differentiated instruction. And again, if you want to do Fatiha, it could be at the elementary level, it could be even at the graduate level, right? The other point is the point you just mentioned about active learning. By research, you will lose their attention after 10 minutes. If you talk more about 8 minutes, in fact, I assume even now it's less than 8, you will lose them. Then, if it's about knowledge, they can attend all these things on YouTube. So what I'm trying to say, participation and engagement is really the point. It's not just the knowledge. Having them to talk is really the most important.
I agree. And it looks like we have some educational background together, switching the teaching tool as well. So reading from a book, listening to a video, attending as a group, an online class, the setting changes, and that helps a lot. And again, don't I feel the pressure as a mentor that I have to cover a lot of material. It's not at all, because all of us can search a lot and get information right away. It's about the development and the discussion. So I feel I learned outside Usra from my Naqib and others, met other mentors more than inside Usra. So we work together in certain project, and by action I learn a lot. I remember when I was in college and we were late praying Dhuhr, and then about to kind of snap the Dhuhr quickly so I can go back, and he asked me, "Do you have 2 minutes to pray Sunnah?" I'm kind of, yeah, go ahead, pray Sunnah. But that's something I learned on the spot. There is there is certain things where I should really focus. Okay, so, yes, please.
For the Quran, for the Quran section, which is obviously the most important.
Yeah.
One problem we have here is most of the also, at least the also I am in. Every week we have Quran, obviously, and it takes the most abundant time of our Usra on regular basis. But yet I don't, in the resource here or the curriculum, the Quran is not divided into 4 phases as clear as the others, like Aqidah and Fiqh. So let's say if we have studied, for example, here, we finish Surah Tawbah and Anfal and Tawbah, for example, and we need to choose another surah to start memorizing or at least studying. How can I choose that? Obviously, we all need, as the Fadl, we all need to study Surah Al-Fatiha, we all need to study Surah Al-Ikhlas, all the time. But yet, we need to have some tools. How can we, as Naqib, with this Usra, choose the surah that can serve the most to the rest of the curriculum?
I agree.
So, if we have some help about this, should we link choosing the surah to the Aqidah phase, for example?
Yeah.
Should we link that to the phase of the Da'wah, for example? How can we choose that surah?
I agree. So we try in phase 1 to have Makki surah, where it's more in the Aqidah and principles. Then after phase 2, 3, and 4, you will see us getting through the rest of the Quran. And the goal is different this time. In the past, if you're familiar with previous curriculum, we focus on specifics, so Surah Al-An'am, or Surah Al-Tawbah, or Surah one of the surahs and so on, so there is a clear message, Al-Muzammil, Al-Muddathir, because there is sometimes you go with the sequence of it. But this time we try, hopefully, that all of us in mass finish the whole Quran by the end of this curriculum. And that's different, because we try to do a tafsir al-mawdu'. If you're familiar with it, you don't go down to the level of the ayah by ayah and reflect on word by word. You get the message coming out. So, and we have the link to Dr. Hamid's page that you can listen to that. So in my college group, I used to get them to watch some of the video, pick specific parts of the video, and then you reflect, because the message is what we're looking for. So that does not, of course, replace going down to 2-3 ayahs and go deeper. But that's, yeah, but we try to do that, but I totally agree. Maybe this is something we can think more about it and comment certain, yeah. Or at least have a map of the surah and try to identify some of them serving certain goals, so that helps if you're picking from the list. I agree, this is a great idea. Yes.
I have a question for that link. So my understanding, that link is available for free for mass numbers, right?
Yeah.
As no cover. But when I try to access it, it doesn't work. And
Really?
both dates send it out and
Yeah,
I
I'll
try
check it,
to.
inshallah.
So,
I used it some 2 years ago. I don't know if it's active. I will do it, inshallah. Other question I saw a hand? Jazakallah khairan. Good discussion, mashallah. So, yeah, go ahead. Do you see a hand? And Dr. Hamid is another engineer, that's why he's engineering his ways. So he has a chart, if you have seen it before, with the curve going up, how hard it's getting in Mecca, and then locate where each surah is revealed. So Yusuf, for example, is around the year of Huzn, Amr Huzn, and so on. And that helps a lot. And then you see in Medina where Surah Al-Baqarah and Al-Imran was started for a huge time, because a lot of ahkam needed now. You see Surah Al-Hujurat coming where there is a community. The community needs a community learning how ethics of community and so on. So these charts and even breaking the surah into parts, and it's great.
Probably it helps with editing and adding on this curriculum, how you do it, like phase 1 is just last 3 juzr, and phase 2 is just 1 to 8, maybe 1 to 8 is a huge, and then totally got it. But similar, and with the aqidah that you split it with through the seerah, maybe you can do these
Yeah.
slots.
I agree,
through
and I like the
seerah
idea
and
of
towards the
providing also for all the surah the objectives that can help, so as in a simple format, so that can be. But again, Dr. Hamid said in this committee, and this is where he's the one who wrote that part of the Quran as well. But yeah, it's a good idea. MashaAllah, yes.
On the Saturday for the first of qualities, the word competency is available.
What did we use?
The qualities, the qualities of people.
Oh, okay.
Competency is because you really want to build character. Competency is because you know
I agree. I like that.
dimensions. Competency and those are dimensions.
Yeah, I like that. Jazakallah khair. Yes.
So for the rest of those stages or phases.
Qualities, yeah.
No, the phases of
The phases, yeah.
Aqidah and so forth. I think it's the best to have that decided or determined by the Naqib with his mentees. I don't think the Naqib would be able to, and I don't think he or she should be the one to dictate we are in this phase.
I agree.
I think that is a very important exercise for our brothers and sisters in the Usra as mentees or as Usra members to decide with the Naqib where should we start, which phase really sincerely we are at and which we start with. Even if it's phase one, there is no rush. I don't think it's a sign of success that our all mentees and mentors and our Usra are in phase 3 or 4. I don't think this is a sign of success. At least in Masdara's based on what I can judge it, and maybe I'm wrong. But I think we should make sure that that partnership between the Naqib and his mentees are very critically involved in doing this. And in each phase, there are different things. So what you said about maybe I was on another Usra and I studied that part. There's some other parts in the same level we can start with.
I agree. And that's why in the Usra example I said, beginning I did that, then I thought it's really a good exercise. Having the discussion around it, it's as if you see your books coming out to you, subhanAllah. You see how that you get or you don't get it yet. Oh. That means we have a long discussion. That's great. All right, so we have, is it 35 minutes?
Yes.
Okay, good. All right, so midway check now. Raise your hand how familiar now with the curriculum. If you started with 1, hopefully you're 2 now. So I can see out of 5, I'm familiar with the curriculum, or I'm still at 1, I'm at 2, so I can see what progress we made so far. I can see 2s, I see 5, mashallah, I see 5s, 3, that's great. I did not see any 1s, that's great, mashallah, so we're doing a great job. Let me now, I click quickly through a couple of cases so that we can think together on it, and then I'll show the resources, and then we may get back to this tool again if we need, but I think we had really good understanding of it. All right, so case 2. So a case 2 is a young professional, 25 to 35, and then, family status, career status, and so on. So again, that may differ from one to the other. I'll show you case 3 and 4, and then we have time to pick only one of these cases to run it together, and we'll run it fast a little bit. So this is case 2. Case 3, the other age group that career-wise in a different place, family-wise in a different place, development-wise, and so on. So that could be, the progress. I try to gauge it by the age, which may or may not apply, but it's a good tool. And then the other group, which is above that. So, and you see where we may have different stages in life, career, and so on. Pick from 1, from 2, 3, or 4, which one you'd like us to run, because we have only time to run one more.
Are we gonna run them as, are we gonna run them in order to figure out just numbers?
Yeah, we'll do the numbers together, so the next exercise.
Instead of the numbers, can we switch to choosing books?
I'll get the books, yeah. I'll show you the number. Two. Okay, we have enough tools. Let me do the tools. Let me bring it back here. So you take another photo of it, make sure you have the numbers, and then we click on it, and then I'll talk about the books, inshallah. All right, so this is case 2, and now you're familiar with it, so I don't have to explain much. I need numbers right away. So, belief, where do you think this group would be? 2, 3, 3, 3, 2. Let's say 3. Fiqh, correct worship, fiqh. I see 4s and 3, so 3. Ethics and morals.
The brother got married, so he has to know all.
Yeah, it's coming. Spiritual development. 3. This is the age, 25 to 35. This is where they can go deep and go. How about life centered around Allah? 3. Quran connection. 3. That's great, mashallah. So in the 80s now. 80s means we're almost at the 3rd level or so, or close to the end of the 3rd phase. Let's do the exercise here. Again, self-motivated. 3, 4. Self-development. Family commitment. Now there is family, right? So, okay, I'll put 4 for this one. Community commitment, being engaged, leading activity, and so on. I see 3. So we are at the 80s now. Let's do the mass part. Mass mission and vision. Age group 2, 3. I'll put.
Community commitment, can I mention something?
Yeah.
I would choose one of 2 actually. We see in our real life, our brothers and sisters who are recently engaged, they get married, their commitment to their community is less.
Yeah.
Just because they need to adapt and get.
I agree.
This is real life.
One of my mentors, long time ago, maybe more than 30 years ago, he said there are 2 things: marriage and job. These are 2 jumps. People who are successfully go through these 2 jumps and survive, they will continue working. If they don't survive one of these jumps, they may land in good place. Pardos could be maybe So these are 2 jumps. Children is another. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, I was young at that time. Yeah, that's a good point. Children. All right. Understanding or embody the mass vision. We talked about this one. Let's put 3 for now. Teamwork skills for that age group. It depends where we are, because 25, 26 is different from 33. Shura is not easy to understand and apply sometimes. Yeah. Brotherhood and sisterhood for this group. 3s, mashallah. Understanding the revival of Islamic civilization. I'm hoping for a good score for this one. 3, okay. That puts us again in the 70s. Let's do that exercise here. As a citizen, understanding the meaning of being an actual citizen. 3. History. 4. Engaged and participating, actively engaged. 3s. Promote the American values. That works for us. I'll put 3. So that's the numbers here. Last one, knowledge seeker, could be professional, could be Islamic, critical thinker. This is the age where they should be critical thinker. 30s is a correct age for it. Knowledge provider, again, coaching to some scale. That could be an aqib. That could be an aqib for a group. And finally, knowledge in action, and the connection between knowledge and action 3. Good. So alhamdulillah, between the two exercises, I feel we are connected now with these objectives. We understand them. We tried the second exercise. We did not really have hard time raising the hand with the number, so this is great, mashallah. And we can do case 3 and 4, and I'll show you, inshallah, how you can download the Excel sheet so that you have actual access to this tool to apply right away, inshallah. So over the last 2 years, we developed a website, and I was very happy with it, mashallah. Sister Wafa from the chapter here helped us in the team, and really did a great job. Then about 6 months, 8 months ago, another sister joined the group, and then developed really amazing website. So I was very happy with the first one. This one I'm crazy happy about it. So I'll show it to you, inshallah. So this is the website that I was happy with it. And this one is old. So what we did is technically a place where you can download everything. So you can download this document, you can download videos and so on. And this is still alive, but it's not really what we have. MashaAllah, what we have IT experts to get to that website. So this is where you can take a photo of this image. This is where the website is. This is a different login than the mass national that you're using to get to the donation and other resource center. They have to put it in a separate platform for technical reasons. So to remember it, it's MuslimAmericanSociety.org, and then before that you put learn. Once you do that, you go to the website. First time, I'll show you how to register. You get a really simple name, username, and so on. Once you do that, you have access to the tool. Okay? So the website, I'll walk you through the pieces of it, but it has all the components of this document in an easy way. And now the website, besides updating this PDF file, will be able to add videos and add more online tools. And one thing they told me about it as well, you can track your progress. So I finished that specific book, and you can put a note, somebody can read it, and I can see where I am, and we'll turn it into a teaching tool that you can track where we are. So this is the other website that I want everybody to sign in. This is register with an R at the end. Please take an image of this one, and this is how much information you need from you. Just name, username, and password, and that's it. And in minutes, you're going to have access, and then here we go. You have access to that website. I'm going to walk you through in the next 10 minutes.
All the resource center is not working.
It's working. It's working, yeah.
But this is Simplify Access.
No, this is different platform. So in the resource center, if you go, you will see one of the items called Learning Platform. When you click to it, it will take you there. They told me there is a technical reason this is not in the same platform. It takes you to a different place, yes.
Is it open to anyone, or
Yeah, once you fill in as a member,
you have to be a member?
yeah, it will take, this form will go to to one of the team to approve it, and then you're in. So now everybody knows how to get to it, right? So back again, learn MuslimAmericanSociety.org, and first time, go to this one with the register here, get you to fill in this simple form, submit, and I was told within minutes somebody will approve you, and here we go, you have access to that amazing website that they developed a couple of months ago. So what you get in the website, you get this page. So this page has all the topics here. So you click on each one of them, it's a separate sub-page that everything you need about it, and a short video how to use it. So all of the training, I have all the training material here is broken into 10 minutes videos, so that you can watch a video about the Quran, or about Islamic history, or about one of these items, and instead of watching maybe 2 hours training similar to what we did here, just 10 minutes video walking through, getting you to quickly understand what we're talking about. So this is the first one. This is a monthly plan. If you go to page 4 in our document here, and 7 and so on, all the, 5, 7 and so on, this is here as well. So you can, if you don't have access from the phone, you can see where we are in it. And it has the books that we're talking about. In each one of them, it has which books is recommended for which phase. And the assessment tool that I was talking about, you click here, you get it. However, this one is even better. This is bubble, where instead of writing, I click from where I put 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on, and it calculates it in a better way, in a survey format instead of an Excel sheet. However, I'll show you, you can download the Excel sheet. I'm one of the people who like to have the Excel sheet, it's better for me. But if you like, well, maybe mobile friendly or phone friendly, this website is for free. So main page, you have all the topics, each one of the 8 topics, and here the plan shortcut right away. What else we have? Down here you have the different phases, and you have the placement tool that we talked about earlier. So these are the different phases, and the placement tool. We call it placement tool or assessment tool. This is where we do the objectives, the 2 exercises we did today. That's all in the main page. You go further. This is where I can download everything that was developed in the last 11 years or so. So in 2012, there was a curriculum. Everybody familiar? Are you familiar with the 2012 before? Yeah. It's an Excel sheet with multiple pieces. It's down to week by week. For example, you have this Surah Al-An'am and Surah Hud and so on. And you can download the, we would like to refer to it as a yellow book that came in 2016. We have other things and so on. And this document and the placement tool in Excel format. All of them are downloadable once you are in. And this is a link to the thematic tafsir. I'm going to clear it, inshallah. You said it's not working. I'm going to clear it from them, inshallah. So this is what.
The new website. I tried it through the whole.
Maybe that's why. So maybe I did not use the old website for a while. So try from the new one, inshallah. If it doesn't work, let me know, inshallah. Great. So what else? We have these short videos that's uploaded YouTube, so that you can click on any one of them at any time. It's a 10 minutes running through the slides, similar to my material, with a video, with audio, so they're kind of explained in a quick format. So a couple of months I did not use the part of the curriculum. I can go back and listen instead of reading. So different people have different ways of going through the material, the same one. And we plan it in a way to make it about 10 minutes each, 7 minutes and so on, so it doesn't take much time. Now I'm going to go through the website, put in front of you page by page, and then inshallah after 7 minutes, I'm going to pick out of the 8 topics, maybe one topic to go deep a little bit and see how the objectives go down in one of them. So this is a page of the Quran. If you compare it to this document, that's exactly the same. But again, the website is easier to do. Aqidah and are the other pillars of Aqidah and how they applies. Fiqh and the different pieces of the fiqh. Islamic history and how that learns. So I'm going to pick, inshallah, one of these topics to go deep in, inshallah. And the da'wah for mass, mission and vision, the spread of the da'wah, and even working with non-Muslims as part of the da'wah. Current issues, understanding society, history, politics. So they say current history are 3 pieces. If you understand the culture, which is the society, you understand the history, so how people think, and then understand the political system. Between the 3 of them, we understand a lot how to interact. So yesterday in the hotel, I was watching the different news, right? So Fox News and NBC and then CNN, and you can, by integrating all of them, you can extract what happened exactly, but you have to do that in a way. So that's again understanding the culture part of it. Tazkiyah is very critical. I'm going to use maybe a minute on it. to reinforce what I said earlier, with being engaging in da'wah, we get busy schedule. Weekend is busy, afternoons are busy. I have an Usra meeting, I have maybe a committee meeting in the weekend I'm having. If there is no tazkiyah part in the week, we'll burn out. So make sure that as an aqib, I personally have to have my own tazkiyah part, and I have make sure that the Usra has tazkiyah. One of the sisters gave me this advice many years ago, says, we don't approach person to talk about hijab before you get to the heart first. Otherwise, this hijab will not stay much. So you approach, you fill in the heart. They say you fill in the cup before covering it. So the same idea, you fill in the heart to make sure that there is work. Our goal is not the activity. Our goal is not, maybe Ahmed will not be happy. Our goal is not to have a successful mass conference. Our goal to have people who can run this conference for years to come. Both of them together. So the development and the assignment is critical. So when I get an assignment, or I happen to get an assignment, I will make sure that it works for the person developed by teaming with some person or some activity and so on. So the mentor part in the duties is very critical. So that we actually build by working. Some young people work with me and say we always get worked out hard without focusing on how you develop. And this is deficiency in the Usra. This is where the tazkiyah happens. Personal skills is very important. We come with different skills. So somebody happens to be a good writer, who can write nice articles, or develop a website nicely, attractive, or can stand and give presentation, or can be a person in a debate. Different skills, which is great. However, we can develop more, even leadership. We say some of us are a natural leader. However, all of us can be good leaders. So we can train. There are many things, and the Naqib job is to identify these qualities. The Prophet ﷺ, we see the different hadith about different Sahaba and how these clearly identify the role of each one of them. Sayyidina Abi Dawud, Sayyidina Abu Hurairah, Abdullah ibn Mas'ud, and all of the Sahaba. Name each one of them, each name I mention now, there is an image came in our mind and how the Prophet placed them in the right spot to do the correct development and correct job. And this is part of what we do in developing personal skills. Even if I'm a good speaker, I should get training in that. And if the work offers that, I should do it. The interpersonal skills is science. It's not just something that I have been doing for the last 30 years I continue to do. So it's very important for us to be as professional in that part as well, that we develop in our own. I like the conference that we had, the TAM, a couple of months ago, although I attended only a few parts of it, that we try this theory of choice idea, which it's a big movement at work as well. How we think in a different way. All right, so out of all of these topics, we have 16 minutes. I'm going to pick one, inshallah, go deep in it, so we can really feel how it goes in that specific subject, and then I'll go from there. The material that here we use it for multi-training, so I'm going to fly quickly through the slides and pick specific one. Agent of change. All right, let's see if I do Islamic history, and if we have a couple of minutes, I can hit another. So each one, this is from the training material, that's videos are there. Each one, it says which objectives it's serving. So beside having that map, it's actually in a way that's easy to follow. So we know that Islamic objective is B1 and C5, how it's developed. So Islamic history builds in me as an agent of change and as also a bearer of the message. So what we need to do, and usually we stop unfortunately here, that we learn about the facts. So and with little kids, it's a great idea. that we can remember the names of the Sahaba and the events and the years. And by the way, we had a camp a year ago with middle high school kids. And when I start using not the Islamic calendar, their calendar, they start to relate. When they say the Prophet ﷺ was born in 570, now we are 2023, now the numbers are connected together. I felt that was easier for them. He received the message in 610, died 623, 33, and so on. So this affects. Now, that is where the tarbiyah is. Al-Izz ibn Abd Salam, for example, or some of the Tabi'een, or Ibn Sina as a scientist, is a fact, and this is really great to hear, and where is the reflection, where this is where the learning is, this is where the tarbiyah is. And then finally, how can do that in a practical format? How that is affecting me today as I'm living and interacting. So, history is not one of the topics that people like to hear, but nowadays you can get that in videos and books and so on. Yes, please.
So for that last one, as a team interactor of why it's recently in our meeting, one brother mentioned something about the civic engagement, and I feel with what's happening now and the outcome of how impactful we are as Muslims in our society, especially on the officials, I think having the civic engagement as part of the OSA curriculum, as even a separate part, like it would be good for us to learn what are the options of being civically engaged, and what are we doing. It is becoming very critically important to study this in our OSA as part of our curriculum, especially for young professionals.
I agree. So if you go to the part that talks about current issues, so go page 36. You'll see going deep into that, saying how you understand the history in different phases and how you become involved and active in different phases. And I felt this part is missing in many of our curriculum, that we always focus on the Islamic history without being part in the discussion to understand the constitution and so on, which is easier for those who are raised here, but even them, they don't go deep in that. So we just rush through it. But that's a topic by itself. It's very important that we understand the mechanics of it. Not all of us will be the outreach person that knows the implications here, no. But we should not be zero. We should have certain level of knowledge in this part. All right. So Islamic history goes this way. So all the prophets, starting from Adam alayhi salam to Prophet Muhammad alayhi salatu wasalam. Then studying the Sahaba, because this is the generation that the Prophet raised as a model. Then a Tabi'een after that. Then goes after that as famous scholars, scientists, leaders, Salah ad-Din, Qutb, some of these most recent as well, Muhammad al-Fatih, down to today's, some names that present, the story of Salah ad-Din Ayyubi and how that was developed before his time. How Salah ad-Din Ayyubi was serving in a government that's totally corrupted, but that his way to change from inside. And there are so many lessons that we learn. So we try to proc it by phases in this format, where Sahaba, Sirah, and prophets should be studied by everybody. That there is no way that we can squeeze the Sirah in phase one, and that would be unfair because there is some development. So I talked about the Ta'if, for example. That could be in a phase one, how hard the Prophet ﷺ tried to make da'wah, right? Then down the road in phase 2 and phase 3, we'll see how when he came back to Mecca, he did not make dua against people of Mecca because the whole future of the generation to come. So there are more than one lesson can come depending on where I am in the development. So after that, you will see broken by again the up to today, and which part the Ottoman Empire, for example. It will be, if you go deep a little bit in understanding how the Ottoman Empire, the Dawla Uthmaniyya, got involved in the First World War, kind of dragged into it. How at some point the France and Europe was defending the Dawla Uthmaniyya against Russia because they needed somebody else, so that it's three-player game. You know, there are different pieces here that's very useful. There are pieces here in the history. It depends where you came from. For example, I'm Egyptian. We have the Dawla Fatimiyya in Egypt, and usually we don't study what's happening in the other part of the world at that time. So we study only the Dawla Fatimiyya. What's happening in Maghreb? How the Maghreb was took Andalus at that time. How Dawla al-Abbasiyya, after broken down in the Mamalik time, became just a symbolic part. All of these pieces of history, I'm a big fan of history, by the way, gets us to think more about today and how things are way beyond the simple reflection. So you can see it's broken by time, different phases, and some pieces has to be with every level. And then goes down to objectives. So everything I present again in here and in the website, in the document website, it goes down to specifics, what exactly I'm studying and how I'm doing it, and in the documenting I have. So when I study the Makki part, there are more depth than just the events, the sequence of events. Why did Prophet ﷺ send the Sahaba to Al-Habasha in the early stages, in 5 or 6 years? Why? Why he had to have a strategic depth somewhere else, just in case everybody here is killed, we have a reserve somewhere. And some of these Sahaba did not come to the Prophet and come in Medina. So this happened to be with the Prophet for only a few years, went to Habasha, then went to Medina right away. SubhanAllah. And you don't see the rest of the story in it. So again, we try to break down into pieces and how that is affecting, and you see that in every one of the phases and how that can be applied. And then the pieces that we're talking about, and different books for different parts of it. You know, Sirat Ibn Hisham and stories of the prophets, Qasas al-Anbiya, Ibn Kathir, and down to, I was asked about that one, for example. This is a really nice book about Palestine. Really nice, small one that's easy to follow. It has a full history in a nice way, and other things. This is also another one. This is really a nice book. It's very deep. What is it? I did the wrong. Yeah. Did I do it?
The author of the book of Palestine is
yeah.
Hatem Bazian or Hussein Bazian?
I think Hussein. Hatem? It's my mistake, sir.
You're talking about the current one who's
The current one, yeah.
Hatem.
It's my mistake, sir. I got the last name correct now. So this is a nice book that I try to study with my group. This is about just a small book like that. It's maybe 100 pages that gets run through the history, Islamic history in reasonable way, so that you get to base the map in your mind, the time map in your mind. And other books are recommended again for different levels. And books are again resources that we can exchange and use. And there are other online resources. And this is where the website will be used. Inshallah, as we develop in mass and other new books will come, this part will be updated on the website. And our hope on that website to have more than books, you know, videos and so on. Anybody visited Yaqeen website before? So we're hoping to do something in this nature where you can have embedded videos and text together. That it's the platform is actually active learning tool. So that's a topic I picked. And then the map, the year map, how often we meet met, and that's it. Now I have 5 minutes, so we can use this one. This is a dawah. I think 2 more slides and I'll stop, inshallah. So the da'wah, talking about our relationship with mass as an ideology and as an organization, and how we get Muslims, our job to get Muslims closer to Allah, and then approaching non-Muslims as well. So the da'wah in our mind goes first establish the connection so that I'm part of a group, because here SubhanAllah, in my life, I had a chance to do dawah outside here and here. Here resources are available, a lot, that I can get full-time dawah time in local masjid. And I'll be very productive in getting the weekend school and other things. However, it's very important for us to understand and pass information, being part of a larger organization, have more sustainability for future. Otherwise, this effect and impact will be limited here, depending who is living in this place. So that's an important part of being part of a larger organization. And I think I want to stop this slide by putting our core values and go through them, and then I'll stop there, inshallah. So our core values: Rabbaniyya, Wasatiyya, Shumuliyya, positive citizen, justice, spiritual development, brotherhood, diversity, and commitment. These are core values. When I was really, really young, I used to remember them without understanding them, but it says a lot. It says a lot about how we look at things, how we don't. I have a brother came from the Tabligh in our masjid one time, and he was talking to me about Tabligh, to go to the conference and so on. And then I was trying to explain to him Shumuliyya and how we have integrated our whole life. That did not come from me understanding it, but it was developed in me that in da'wah is not a special off time I do and then I go back to my normal life. It is my life. It's integrated. The example of Yusuf alayhi salam I mentioned. The other example that stands in my eyes in Surah Yasin. City in Sham got two prophets. فكذبوهما فعززنا بثالث. 3 prophets in the same town. And then, of course, they did not reply. A regular person like us, not a sheikh, not a prophet, approached them, and they ended up killing them. Now imagine that you live in Dallas, and Dallas got 3 prophets, real prophets. You think you have da'wah duties now? It's hopeless. We got actual prophets, not me, actual prophets. 3 of them in the same town. However, there is a da'wah duty. There is a Rabbaniyya part. And Ibn Abbas talked about him. قِيلَ دُخُلِ الْجَنَّةِ قَالَ يَا لَيْتَ قَوْمِي يَعْلَمُونَ. Ibn Abbas mentioned he's the one who made da'wah before and after his death. He is about to go to Jannah, left his life. قَالَ يَا لَيْتَ قَوْمِي يَعْلَمُونَ. Because da'wah comes from care. We actually care about these people that will come. And that's why we are different. Our core values get us to be different. Look at things in a different way. Shumuliyya is what we have. Rabbaniyya. We're not doing that for any other reason. We're not doing that even for a title called the Mass. We do that for the da'wah, for the actual da'wah that happens inside. And positive citizen, justice, and all the other pieces, wasatiyya, which sometimes a brother advised me at some point in my usra, we're trying to be more strict in following certain rules. And he said, be careful. You want to do that yourself, it's up to you. Don't apply to everybody, you'll make it harder for everybody. You try to go further, that's great. But don't make it the general rule. Then it will be harder. Al-wasatiyya is important. And that's the last slide to put. Let's check. Raise your hand, I'll not feel bad. 1 or 5 about the curriculum. Hopefully I said it enough for you that you like it. 3, 4, 5. All right. Raise your hand one more time. How easy to access the website?
So somebody needs to approve.
Yeah. It has to be approved. Once you register, this is.
I think this is.
Go ahead, please. Alaykum salam.
I just want to mention, when it comes to the practicality, it will take longer than what we can cover at least one book from the professor. For example, we're talking about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 issues per scale. Just get 8 topics. Now, every month, every week, I'm going to do 2 topics. Additional
a chance to see the actual thing, we'll go to some point. You know, some books will have only first 2 chapters only for phase 1. But let me reflect on that part. There is a place where we feel should be done outside the Usra. So I'll try to get you to this specific page here. We go to page 17. So on page 17 here, that chart, the idea of how deep I can go. Because the development can be in the Usra. The topic itself is maybe hard to do. So for example, let's say college graduate is an appeal for a small college student. We talk about fiqh or aqidah, that might be tough topic. However, it should be provided one way or the other. So, yes.
Just as a comment, I assume everybody knows what flipped classroom environment is, so probably you should try all the time to ask them, come already prepared, and then just discuss. I know it's not going to happen, all of them will come, but gradually come, read 4 chapters, and come to discuss, rather than just discussing that.
And for certain age group videos, I notice it's easier. They listen to the video or watch the video more than reading. Yeah. Yeah.
Comments. I see the Usra curriculum has evolved a lot through the years. But very more relevant, more efficient, and the way it's mapped more scientific. I have also commented that I don't think any one of us join mass because of the curriculum. I don't think so. I don't know if this happens. Somebody join mass for the curriculum. What we join mass is maybe it's the person and the outside of the curriculum goals. So I'd like to see more like project-based, practical assignments and stuff. Not Einstein, but things that really apply to.
I agree.
Because none of us, after we finish the curriculum, are going to take a certificate, but want them to really do the work.
Although some of mass say let's do badges, that's not a good idea. But I agree, and not to make it hard for everybody, but the work is way outside the school. The curriculum part, and some of the curriculum topics should not be only the 2 hours. Maybe I need to do some practical application. So inshallah we'll put it outside, like visiting the graves or visiting a scholar or some other activity. Yeah. I agree, and the platform of learning allow you to have notes, comments as well. So
and
as
it's
you
not
read,
effective because everyone's reading together,
Yeah,
so they're
building it together. Yeah, I agree. I like this idea, mashallah. I'm 5 after, 6 after, so. Jazakallah khairan, you have more resources in this chapter than other places, better than me to answer questions.
We have 2 targets.
First, I like everyone asks you a question, you say, I agree.
Barakallah.
Yeah, even you say something different, but yeah, this is a good thing.
Yeah, it's you know, this curriculum, the brothers and sisters who work on it, we have good ideas, and as we develop, we get input and so on, but I think it should be collected as it's applied, and we hear back input, we should improve it. It's a working tool, inshallah. Jazakallah khairan, barakallah fiik. Barakallah.